Hey everybody, we're back with another movie review for the day, our second one for the day. Uh, and just like Brittany handled the last one, I'm going to be primarily doing this one. She was busy doing some work while I was watching it, so I'll be taking this over. So we watched Escape Plan 2, straight to Blu-ray, came out this past Friday. We actually went and saw the first Escape Plan in theaters a few years ago when it came back. Um, I'm a sucker for anything Stallone or Schwarzenegger, so especially when they're both in the same movie, we're going to see it. I actually really enjoyed the first one, and I literally just got done watching the second one. So going to give you some quick thoughts. Um, so basically, this one kind of picks up where the first one left off. Stallone's character. Ray is basically specializing. The movie opens and them busting someone out, hostage out of a terrorist prison. So he's kind of on the other side in this movie. It's got Sylvester Stallone. It's got 50 Cent. It's got Dave Bautista. It's got Jesse Metcalfe in it from John Tucker Must Die, and I think he was in Desperate Housewives, I think.
Oh yeah.
So basically, they're all in this movie and all part of his team. And we're just going to start with there. I actually thought the acting was pretty good. Sylvester Stallone, you're going to get what you expect from him. 50 Cent is kind of the kind of tech guy on the team. Jesse Metcalfe is kind of the younger, kind of somewhat rebellious type person. And Dave Bautista is just Mr. Badass, like he always is. Some things that I kind of noticed right off the bat, though, I'm assuming just straight to Blu-ray. I'm assuming lower budget. And you can kind of see that right off the bat. Some of the special effects not super great. There's an explosion in that opening prison break scene that looks like straight out of Nintendo 64. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of notice that stuff. There's also this, like, when the prisoners get shocked, this weird, like, green electricity that shows up, and it looks like weird, almost like Mortal Kombat type looking stuff. It looks a little rough. But what's kind of weird, though, is some of the stuff looks good. The prison they go in, kind of the main setting for the movie is this super futuristic. There's like robot doctors and stuff like that. Those actually look pretty cool. The look of their cells is actually pretty cool. It's basically it almost looks like steel, but it's got these cool like neon light stripes throughout the cell. So kind of hit or miss with the effects. There's a guy, and I can't pronounce his real name or else I'd give him a shout out, but his name in the movie is Shu, and he is really kind of the main focus of this movie and gets the most screen time, and it's worth it. Not only is his acting awesome, but his fight scenes are incredible. And they happen all throughout the movie. He is really the standout of this movie. So the fight scenes are awesome. One thing that's kind of interesting about this movie, too, though, is you kind of get... basically, the plot of the story is some of Sylvester Stallone's team gets locked away in this prison. So it's kind of interesting. You get the perspective from his team inside trying to figure out how to get out. And then you get the outside perspective from Sly and some of his other people trying to figure out how to get in to get his team out. So it's kind of a cool, kind of breaks up the pace a little bit in a good way of seeing both sides of the story of people trying to break out. Some of the other kind of interesting points I thought was in the prison, there's this main kind of courtyard type deal they call the zoo. And it's almost like a Fight Club type deal where they make the prisoners fight each other, and the winner gets, they call it sanctuary time. And it's basically this cube where kind of teleports them, not literally, but the walls kind of will change into pictures where you can be on a beach or by the ocean or wherever you want to be, kind of just some peace and quiet away outside your normal cell. I thought that was kind of interesting. Some of the things I didn't like about it, the main warden guy, they call the zookeeper, is like your most run-of-the-mill, like bald white guy, villain of the movie. Kind of useless. I guess when you have a lot of cool characters, as your protagonist, maybe that's not as big of a deal, but he's pretty cut and dry. You know what I mean? He starts off where he's trying to be super calm, and then he just gradually starts yelling and gets crazy. He's unfortunately pretty irrelevant. So that would be one negative on the movie. The other negative would be is the kind of surprise twist halfway through the movie. You're going to guess within about 2 minutes of the movie. You just kind of suspect it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't necessarily like kill the enjoyment of the movie, but when it happens, you almost feel like it already happened because you were expecting it to happen. If that makes any sense.
I wasn't even paying attention to the movie, but I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I was talking about how cool some of the main characters are. You know, Batista, 50 Cent's character is real cool, but there are some that aren't as great. There are these little like kind of cliques in the prison, and one of them is called, I think it's called the Legion, and they're like these super pasty, bald. They look like Deadpool from X-Men Origins Wolverine, the bad one, where it's like he's just all hairless, but he's got these weird like kind of like red shadow around their eyes, and they are so lame. And this is a slight spoiler, I guess, if you care about this group of people, but like there's a scene at the end of the movie in the main breakout where this SWAT team busts in the room and this Legion group's there, and they all stand up and they're like, "We are Legion," and then they all just get shot in the head. Like, they're so lame. I mean, they're so useless, and it's like, okay, dude, get out of here. And then there's one scene too where another one of the prison inmates, I don't remember his name, he's not necessarily a main character, but you know, he shows up occasionally, and he's in a hallway and he's having a shootout with like 3 different SWAT guys, and you talk about like stormtrooper aim. I mean, he's way in the middle of this hallway with a handgun, and there's 3 SWAT members shooting at him with a machine gun. No one gets hit, and he just dies in this room, and it's like, okay. Overall, I would say it's a pretty average movie. I mean, I'm going to be biased. I'm a sucker for anything Sylvester Stallone. I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to watch it. If we're going out of 10 scale, I'd probably give it a 6.5. And that sounds worse than it is. I mean, it's just a straight run-of-the-mill prison break movie or action movie. Sylvester Stallone's great, Batista's great, the guy who plays Shu is amazing. He probably makes this worth the watch alone. I think this was $17 on sale at Best Buy. So maybe either get it on sale, don't pay the full $20 for it, maybe wait for it to go a little more on sale, or unless you can rent it for cheap. Definitely some positives for it and worth watching if you like the first one, but not a...
I think I heard some cheesy one-liners.
Well, of course.
I'd
be disappointed if I didn't hear any. But, I mean, worth a watch. I'm glad I bought it purely for Sylvester Stallone and Dave Bautista. 50 Cent was a bonus. Always fun to see him. But, yeah, I'd go 6.5 out of 10. Just pretty run-of-the-mill would be kind of my synopsis of it.
Yeah. I would definitely say just from kind of sitting in the same room, there wasn't really much that kind of caught my attention from watching it, or from being in the same room and kind of halfway going back and forth between it. So
yeah. But anytime Shu is on the screen, I mean, when he actually fights the zookeeper at the end, and that is the one scene that the zookeeper is actually worthwhile because he just gets his ass whooped, and it's amazing. Yeah, so maybe save that for a rental, or you know, maybe a $10 on sale would probably be what I recommend.
Unless you've seen the first one and you know,
or
want to go ahead and, or a
Stallone fanboy like me,
then
just go ahead and pick it up. Who cares?
Yeah.
But that's what we thought. Let us know what you thought in the comments below, and thanks for watching.
All right. Bye.
Bye.